All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. Wherever you are in this beautiful world, welcome to our Inner Circle Live pre-New York session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. We'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody's doing well today on this fine Wednesday. As always, let's turn off all distractions, grab pen and paper. Let's take lots of notes. Let's make sure that we participate and engage. As I always want to make sure that we start the day off by taking massive action, and that action stands for accepting all possible losses before entering a trade, preparing you for any outcome, centering yourself, body, mind, and spirit, ensuring a balanced approach to trading, trusting your education, strategy, trade skills, and intuition. Imagine your trade successfully materializing, obeying your trading strategy, avoiding decisions based on greed or fear, and never looking back or stopping once your trade has commenced. All right. So we are going to dive in today. Um, we'll have a heavier look uh, on commodities and ETFs, just to get an update on kind of the total stock market, where things are as we continue to observe the back and forth and the indecision of the market, all based on the incoming president's words, tweets, conversations that he's having. So that'll be the look for today. But as always, if you guys have anything that you want me to take a look at, you can always drop that into the chat. So if everybody can hear me okay, drop me one in the chat and we will get rocking. Perfect. Appreciate it. All right. Cool beans. So over to trading economics. Let me get my share on. Here we go. All right. So, on this side of things, you got Germany factory orders unexpectedly plunge. Um, they shrank by 5.4% month over month in November, worse than October's 1.5% decline and missing estimates of a flat reading. It was the sharpest drop since August, dragged by a 58.4% tumble in orders for aircraft, ships, and trains. Also, demand weakened for pharmaceuticals and basic metals. um, so Germany, largest player in the Eurozone. So impact on the Euro side quite a bit there. You had European shares edge higher on Wednesday, with Stocks 500 gaining 0.1%, and Stock 600 advancing 0.3%. We're at the highest levels in 3 months and 3 months and 3 weeks, respectively. Gains were led by healthcare and financial stocks as investors focus on global monetary policy trends for the new year. Um, then you had where am I at here? Germany's 10-year yield hovering near a 2-month high as global bond yields track U.S. Treasuries amid concerns the Federal Reserve might slow its rate cut pace. Among single stocks, Flux 10% in beating revenue expectations. Shell fell off 1.8%. Yeah, so that's where we are there. European stock market starting to gain a little bit from a step back that they took yesterday. And Germany retail sales surprisingly declined. So you had a lot of declines in Germany. Okay. Um, mm, mm, mm. One second. Okay. Yeah, so I had a lot of declines in Germany, just in the Eurozone overall. from more of a currency side of things. Um, Stock market is recovering also. Then over to that's really it for this side of things here. Over to the calendar today, right? We want to make sure we keep our eyes peeled on the calendar. We have 80 non-farm employment change, unemployment claims for the United States at 8:15 and 8:30 respectively. FOMC member Waller speaking at 8:30 as well. You got crude oil inventories at 10:30, and you have FOMC meeting minutes at 2 o'clock. Okay. Um, Insight on the Fed's conversation. Right? Investors are looking there to see if they get insight on the pace of the rate cuts for this year. So we could get some insight there, and we could see the market move from that perspective. If those rate cuts are going to slow, you'll see the dollar rise, and you could see the stock market pull back more than it did yesterday. Um, so just be aware of that. Then tonight we got retail sales for the Australian dollar, and then CPI and PPI for China at 8:30. All right, so that's the calendar. Some other things from a news perspective. Um, Stock treasuries pause as the inflation fuel sell-off, um, trying to gauge the dollar, right? And what's going to happen with the Fed. I'll drop this article in the chat. Just an overall view of the market and where things are. There's a large sell-off yesterday. Donald Trump gave a speech where he talked about a lot of different things, um, and caused the market to be cautious and pull back. So this article gives a good overview. NVIDIA dropped 6.2% yesterday. Um, was a large drop. So yeah, good article there, just as an overview. The other article from Bloomberg is this one here, where it talks about European defense and renewables, and European stocks are most exposed to tariffs. Um, so that's another one to check out as well. One of the things from a stock and ETF perspective, you might want to do some research in is defense stocks, as he asked the defense to increase their spending, uh, equivalent of 5% of their economic output on defense, NATO members. Um, so yeah. So looking at defense stocks and defense ETFs could definitely be a good look there. Obviously tons of back and forth, but doing the research and preparation for after he goes into office and things that he actually implements. So this article also gives you some good insight on things that could be some things to keep an eye on as we move forward there. Right. That's it from a fundamental perspective. Are there any questions, or did you guys come across anything that you want to put on the table? No? All right. Cool deal. Let's hop over to the charts. Take a look at the dollar as the dollar's on the rise, right? Yeah. Talked about the potential of the dollar rising. Back and forth here, right? That level of 107, 729 held, and then we got the push to the upside. Yeah, we got the push to the upside, and we're continuing to rise, right? So we'll see how the meeting minutes today impact this, but my eyes are on this is on the 4 hour time frame. My eyes are on this zone here between 110, 151, and 111, and to see how price responds at that level. right? And that comes off of this daily fib to the upside, right? Looking to get to that daily D extension. There's a question of, do we pull back to this 107 level and then rise, or do we rise first? And you see the takeoff, right? So dollars on the go. We'll see how the stock market opens later on, and then we'll gauge from there. But so your dollar pairs are pulling back in favor of the dollar, and we'll see what happens as we track through the rest of the day. Okay, so that's the DXY. Um, Yesterday we ended with some joy, and some others want to take a look at nat gas. So that's where we will start. And this is where we are right now in nat gas from a daily time frame perspective, right? It is a larger fib. Moving to the upside, we wicked this 382 here on this last push to the upside, and we're consolidating now. We got the stochastic pushing back down into the buy zone. Okay, so we could see more consolidation here, just back and forth bounce. Um, yeah, I'll take a look at that in a second, Reese. Um, but that dollar is running, man. The dollar is running. Um, so we could get some more consolidation here on that gas. Um, before moving back to the upside. I'm looking to see here. This was a previous weekly level, right? Resistance here. I'm looking to see if it continues to hold that support, 319. It has currently. So, but overall, I'm looking for in game natural gas to get into this between 550 and $7 over the long term. So looking long on that gas as we come down to the four. Right? Here's our fib to the upside on the four. We hit the D extension with that spike up, and it was a strong reaction. So we didn't have a new fib pop in, but we dropped down and we'll run a manual fib. And you see this retracement here gave us a 618 push, right? 618 push to on the pullback. And now we're starting to rise. Stochastic coming out of that buy zone. So again, with that consolidation, we could see price bounce back and forth and move sideways a little bit longer, right? Um, Giving us this little bit of a wedge here, right? But ultimately looking for a breakout to the upside and for price to continue moving along. Okay. 618 retracement matching the extension here on the four is 49 $4.94. Okay, so that's my long-term look on that. As we come down to the one, pull this manual one out. And that's where we are also, right? So that just had a big bounce back and forth. On that fib, you got a 8-6 retracement, and we're looking to see if we can get back long there and get to $43 and then 46 $4 and 36 cents and then $4.60. So that's what I'm looking at on that gas, right? Beautiful 80-20 there on the retracement, the extension achieved, sharp pullback. Now we're consolidating, looking for the next leg to the upside. Okay. Um, Also, we got some cold snaps about to come through uh here in the US that could also aid in this move to the upside as well. So we shall see how things fare. Questions on that gas?
Can you go to the 15?
15. Yes, ma'am.
I've been finding luck getting entries off of 15-minute 80/20s.
Oh, okay.
So I got two more entries. So that was the first one where
Right
that
here.
gap is up. Yeah, that was the first one I posted. And then the second entry is that next one. Yeah. Well, it wasn't quite. On
This
the
one right here.
smart analytic, it had like another fib on it, and I had called it 15 minutes from it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, an 80/20.
This move right here.
It got to be that one. I don't know why it looked like a 80/20.
Now this worked at 118 level right here.
Okay.
Yep, right there. And that should be boundary move to the upside.
Yep.
Okay. I see you, Joy, breaking it down. I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
because it's all at the 4 hour. It's all at the 4 hour level.
Yep, yep, yep. All in that range. Stacking them up, right? I love it. I love it. And here, this is a fib off that top. This was also an 80/20 off the high that hasn't gotten to that 382 yet. So we're still in that 80/20 move back to the upside. So appreciate you highlighting that, 'cause I didn't have that there. That's a nice move to the upside there. Appreciate that. Any other thoughts or questions on that gas? Oh, all right, cool deal. Reese mentioned euro dollar. We'll take a look at that real quick. Pressing down. Here on the daily. All right, we're moving back down to the downside. Take that out. That didn't go there. Moving down. Stochastic trying to push out of the buy zone. So you got some divergence happening here. Market moving down. Stochastic moving to the upside. We'll see what happens. See if this low holds. Right? Swing low there on the daily time frame. See if that holds. Or if we break it and continue moving to the matching D extension here at 99 cents. Right? Getting to that parity level, which for the second time for quite some time. Folks have been calling for the market to get back there, and we are almost there, right? So continue to move to the downside there. Um, yeah, I definitely think we get there at some point for sure. Um, on the four, right, you got 50% retracement and a move down. Okay, so let's see, I'm gonna move this down. Time frames, boom. So let's see if this B boundary holds at 102 and we get a higher price before we go to parity, or do we break that level and just continue moving down, right? I think we'll get a lot of insight today with those meeting minutes. That could give us some direction on what the dollar does. And the euro took a hit, like I said, with those comments from Donald Trump. So that also weakened the euro a little bit yesterday as well. So that's the four coming down to the one. That idea crown didn't happen. And you see that price running to the downside there. Okay. So let's see what happens here. All right. We're at an 8-6 retracement right now on the one. That A boundary is close. Right. We broke back below the cloud. Bearish cloud ahead. Right. Price is running to the downside. So let's watch this and see again. Right. Does that 102 level hold? Excuse me. Or do we break that and continue down to parity? Okay. So dollar strength right now, and we'll monitor those meeting minutes to see what the Fed had to say, right? And then see the market's response after that. So appreciate you pointing that out, Reese. Nice retracement there. Questions on the euro dollar? Nope. All right. Cool deal. Benny, good morning, bro.
Ryan, good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody. How are you, Ryan?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Oh man, doing pretty good.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, I know you've been on the move this morning.
hmm
Anything caught your eye from a fundamental perspective?
Just mainly, you had the market sell off a bit yesterday, but due to that, we talked about it yesterday about being patient and the concern was about inflation. So the market saw that ISM uh report come out yesterday, and it showed some price increases, you know, on the month. So that led to more concerns, about inflation being stubborn, and just pretty much raising questions, more questions about, this year's, trajectory of interest rate cuts,
Yeah.
from the Federal Reserve. So again, that's, my thing where last year we came in saying, hey, gold to continue to move higher, because we're in an interest rate cutting environment. Now there's some concerns in regards to the rate in which cuts may come this year because inflation is stubborn. And so when you see your ISM reading yesterday that showed an increases in prices on a month, then the market continues to be concerned about interest rates and whether or not you know the Fed is gonna cut at the rate that they expected, which we already know that the Fed is already talking about just two potential cuts instead of four this year. So it's just continuing to elevate concerns regarding inflation. So that's the main thing. That's what I picked up on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Team, any questions on that?
Right. Yeah. Because so now you know just the chances continue to increase that there'll be no reduction in rates. Because they have a meeting this month, I believe, right? And so the prospects of them cutting, is really becoming slim to no chance of a potential cut because of the way the data is reading.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You see that euro dollar continue to press down. Appreciate that, bro. Appreciate that. All right. Let's pop back out and want to take a look at oil. Daily time frame, this is where we are, right? Headed to the upside. Stochastic in the sell zone, however, right? So we could be in for retracement to come, potentially coming back, and retesting this zone here. Okay. Coming back to the zone, potentially down to $71, retesting those previous highs. So we'll watch for, see if we get a swing high to form there and that pullback to commence. Been a nice strong move to the upside so far, right? Um, so we'll continue to monitor that in these ABCD waves to the upside. Come down to the 4. And I'll run this fib off of this low here out of the consolidation. Boom. That's where you are on the 4, right? Makes sense. Lining up with the stochastic on the daily and the 4-hour being in that sell zone. To look for a retracement to come here, right? And this kind of lines up with that thought, $70, $71 range, right? Just below that zone that I marked out there. But see if we get a nice retracement into the sweet spot and then see if the market wants to get back long. Okay. So looking for a retracement there, 80-20 on the 4. Potential pullback coming down to the 1. You also got an 80-20 here. Right, nice strong bearish action, pulling back now. Let's see if we get a retracement here into the sweet spot. Okay, coming down to the 30-minute, Reese posted Was looking for a crown pattern. I believe this was it right here. Ran past that move to the upside, so the crown is invalidated. However, I think your 80-20. Yep, 80-20 is still intact here. Okay, so we'll watch to see if we get that move to the downside. Reese posted a chart in the community. Was yesterday? Yep, yesterday. So let's see if we get that move to the downside there on oil on all time frames. Okay. Questions on oil.
Nope.
Cool beans. There we go. All right, cool deal. Um, what else did you guys have in there? I didn't get a chance to look into get into the community yesterday. It was a wild day. What else do we have here? Oil, net gas. Okay. All right. Cool beans. So oil and net gas as far as charts go. So that works. All right, cool. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. We had a large move back down yesterday, right? So we're sitting in this 80-20 zone here, right? Started that retracement, pushed back up to the high 152, strong move back down, right? Stochastic in the sell zone. So we could be in for this retracement, even though they announced their video game chips and and that deal, but we could be in for this move back down to the downside, right? Giving us this retracement. So watch this as it moves, especially with the inflation conversation being what it is. And those Fed meeting minutes, we could see this 80-20 really start to gain some traction and move down to the downside. This is on the 4. Okay. Um, back to the daily, similar deal, right? So let's see if we can get price to move back into this range. Stochastic also in the sell zone here. So let's watch and see what happens as we move through the day today and where the market opens. It might open a little bit higher. Let's see around two o'clock if we start to see price move back down, depending on what those meeting minutes have to say. Okay. So that's from a daily and 4 hour perspective down to the 1. That's that move yesterday. Right. And there you see it. So range bound right now, bouncing here, right? Coming out of the top of the range. We'll see what happens at the bottom of the range, see if we break that and head lower, right? Around getting back down around 114. That would really be ideal, right? It'd be ideal if we get a low price here at 114, give us a nice opportunity, potentially to buy that back to the upside. So we'll watch NVIDIA there and see what happens. Questions here.
Market's calling for like 172.80, I think, on that by the was it by the end of the year or something? I was
By the end of the year.
yeah, because it's still up. Yeah, 172.80. That was a call from Yahoo Finance that tracks Wall Street analysts.
Okay.
So they're calling 172.80 over the next 12 months on that. It's up I think 190% from
Eesh.
from last year. Crazy, right? So
Wild.
yeah, definitely something to involved in with your long term portfolio.
Yes, sir. So we'll map that level there. So let's watch that and see. Right, but um, gaps are close to the downside. Yeah, yeah. Uh, down in this range here, right, which is right in line with that 618 retracement area. Could even come down lower, 108, but would definitely love to see it settle in this range here. Move this down. Love to see it settle in the 618 range, right, at this daily support level. But we'll see. We'll see if we get that nice pullback. If we do, that'd be a great setup for second half of the year and a run up to the upside to get to that 172 level. All right. So let's see on the 1 hour gaps. Tons of them. Tons of them. All right. Down here we're clear, but you got gaps down here to the downside that Dunet's talking about. All right. Which falls in line with that thought and that idea. So let's see. Let's see. Pullbacks and continuations. ABCD waves. This is how it goes. Any other thoughts or questions on NVIDIA? Nope. All right. Cool deal. Let's take a look at just want to review some of these ETFs that we've been tracking for a while and see where those are sitting as we continue to observe the market and what is happening and where things sit the first, let me say the first 5 days, see how things are. SCHD, right? Your dividend focused ETF tracking the Dow Jones, 100, dividend 100 index, high yields, high yield companies with consistent dividends, right? So top holdings in this fund, Home Depot, Verizon, Cisco Systems, BlackRock, and Unum Group, right? So this one gave us a nice retracement on the daily time frame. We've been sitting here around this $26 level, right? Let's see what happens. 618 retracement, weekly support, retesting here. Okay. Let's see what happens. We got stochastic in the sell zone. So one of two thoughts here, just looking at it from a daily time frame perspective. Could potentially see that, right? Could potentially see that. Or if this level holds 2681, do we see this start to make its move back to the upside, right? After some consolidation here, right? Once that stochastic gets back into that buy zone, if this level holds, see if we get a move back to the upside. So we'll watch that and see how things fare as we move through the next we got 12 days for the inauguration, and then we'll see what impact this has and how these companies fare through the first few weeks of the month, right? But stochastic in the sell zone, so don't be surprised if we see it move back down to the downside here, right? But the question would be at that 2681 level for me. Down to the 4, pull this out. Run the fib off the low here. Boom, there we go, right? So you got deep retracement on the 4 hour as well, but stochastic also in the sell zone. Okay. So we'll watch and see how things continue to evolve here on SCHD and see where the market takes us. See if we get a trend line break. Okay. So we'll watch that as it consolidates, push it down to the bottom of the range, and then we'll see what happens if we get a break back to the upside. Um, yeah, so that's where we're on SCHD. That's what I'm looking at there, looking to see if we get that move long at some point. Questions here?
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Can't wait for that to just settle down and get that super good price level. It's already looking pretty good.
It is looking good, man. I can't wait either. I've been sitting waiting patiently to add to my original positions on this one. So definitely being patient with it, but I'm looking forward to it as well. Looking
For
forward
sure.
to it as well.
For sure. Yeah, I like the way that's looking, especially from that daily chart.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Let's see. SCHG. All right. So SCHG, large cap growth total stock market index, right? Focusing on US large cap companies with growth characteristics. So your tech companies are in the top on this one: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Nvidia, and Alphabet. Right. This one's got an 80-20 here on the 4, but also on the daily time frame. You also got an 80-20 scenario right here, right? Stochastic is in the buy zone, however, right? So watching this to see, move this down to the support level, 27.57, if that level holds, or do we break that and give us a nice deep retracement? Okay. Um, Seeing how things are moving, right, with the inflation concerns and the Fed, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to get that retracement to come in here, but we'll watch and see how things evolve, right? Um, in the tech sector. But 80-20 on the daily time frame. So watching that to see what this 27.57 level looks like. And if we continue to hold that level and bounce back to the upside, or do we break that and start to make that move lower? Okay. Down to the 4, there's that 80-20 again, stochastic in the sell zone. So you got buy zone on the daily, sell zone on the 4, right? So a bit of a mismatch there. So we could see that could lend toward more consolidation as those then come into alignment in one direction or the other, right? Um, Potentially something like that before we get a retracement and then looking for a low price to get back long. Okay, so we'll watch that and see how this evolves from a fundamental perspective with inflation and with the conversations of Donald Trump, right? But 80-20 on the daily and on the 4, as we come down to the 1, you hit your 382 here, but we're stalled in this 118, 127 zone with that consolidation. Okay. Stochastic also in the buy zone there. So we'll watch this and see how this consolidation evolves. Okay. My bad, Reese. What does the 4 look like? What which one was that? SCHD. Okay. I'll go back to it. But that's where we are on the 1 hour on SCHG. Potentially more consolidation here, but we'll watch. Like I said, keeping on that 27.57 level, see if we get a deeper move before we get a move back to the upside. Questions on SCHG? No? All right. Go back to SCHD. Said 4 hour fib off the top. 382 just moving sideways there. Cool. So we'll see if we get that move back to the upside. Yep. Not quite. Not quite. Not quite. All right. Cool deal. Ba, 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 ba. Next on my list, VTI, Vanguard Total Stock Market Index, right? So similar to this SCHD, tracking the total stock market. Similar look, right? Not quite an 80-20, but sitting high in the zone. I don't Boom, 80-20 on your daily time frame, though, right? We looked at this one yesterday, I believe. And you see that push down didn't quite get to that high, starting to move back down to the downside. So could this crown play out here and give us that deep retracement coming back into our zone here around 266, right? This one's similar to, like I said, SCHG, right? Top holdings, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta, right? Google not in the top five on this one when it comes to allocation percentage. Um, so this one seeks to track performance. Total stock market index covering nearly all the U.S. equity market, including large, mid, and small and micro stock holdings. Right. So a little bit more in this one, a little bit more volatile as well. So it's some of those small and micro holdings. So, but potential crown pattern here, if we get this move to the downside, right? Shallow crown. We'll see if we get that retracement there for that 80-20 on the daily to play out. On the 4, there's your 80-20 there as well, right? So similar to the SCHG, right? As far as 80-20 on the daily and 4 hour, stochastic in the sell zone here on the 4. Buy zone on the daily, right? So a mismatch. Then come down to the 1. And there you go, and you won. Wicked at 382, got into that 118 and 127 zone, trying to make its way back down. Right? So we'll look to see if we get that move back down into that sweet spot and potentially taking out the A on this 1 hour. Okay. So that's VTI. Questions on this one? Nope. All right. Cool deal. 15. MCHI. So this is our Chinese ETF, right? Track the MCHI China Index, providing exposure to large and mid-sized companies in China. Okay. Back out here, come to the daily. Continue to press lower, right? We've been watching this for a little bit on this move down. Continue to press to the downside. So stochastic coming back into that buy zone as we approach that 786 retracement level, right? We continue to press into these lower resistance levels that haven't been retested yet, right? And we did talk about potential of this getting back into this 43, potentially even coming back down to the 40, 41, $41 range, right? So still moving to the downside, got some gaps up, but continue to press down. So we'll continue to monitor this as it moves, looking to see if price can settle in somewhere inside this AB boundary. Okay. Somewhere in the AB boundary, right? So we'll watch and see as price continues to move to the downside here, right? Um, yeah, so we'll continue to see how things evolve, especially as Donald Trump comes in the office. Some of the top holdings in this one, you got Tencent, uh, Alibaba, Meetin, China Construction Bank Corp, and JD.com. All right. So that's where we are on the daily, coming down to the 4. Similar story, right? Wasn't 80-20, gap down, still moving to the downside here. Okay. So we'll continue to monitor this as it floats. And then once it settles in, we'll look for buying opportunities. And then also while looking to see if the fundamentals align with uh that position technically. All right. So that's MCHI still moving to the downside here. Okay. Questions on MCHI? Nope. All right. Cool beans. Next up, ARKK. ARK Investments. Kathy Wood. Come down to the daily. This one, long-term growth by investing in disruptive innovation across various sectors. All right. So this one you got Tesla, Roku, CRISPR Therapeutics, Square, and Teladoc Health are the top 5 in this fund. Okay. Um, Stochastic is in the buy zone here. See, we got an 80-20 on the daily time frame, right? Press down like a lot of the other tech stocks did yesterday. So we could be in for a move to the downside here, right? So look for this one to come into this $48 range at some point. Okay. Um, see if we get this nice retracement to come out of that 80-20 zone. Okay. Stochastic is in the buy zone now. We'll continue to watch and see. We could see, just like some of the others, some consolidation here to continue before that move down. But let's watch and see how this one evolves, right? We could be in for a nice move to the downside, setting us up for a great buying opportunity around $48. Okay. So watching that there from a daily time frame perspective. We're now to the 4, fresh AB boundary. Okay. Beautiful move to the upside, strong action. Now can we get a reset, right? Get a reset so Stochastic in the sell zone, setting us up for that action there. Okay. Um, that same idea as the daily. Okay. Even if we make another push up to 62.39, right? Giving us an 80-20, still looking for price to move down into the zone at some point. Okay. So we'll monitor and see how things go from a fundamental perspective. But looking for that low price to get back long on this. Okay. So that's on the 4, coming down to your 1. Your 80-20 there is already played out. Right? Beautiful scenario there. Drop down. Okay. So that's where we are on ARKK. Any questions here? Oh, that's wild. Hold on. Is this 4-hour not updated? It's not updated at all. Just looking at that.
The charts was updating yesterday.
What happened? I just saw that. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm not sure there.
Yeah, it caught my eye here on the one. So I got that level there, and that's that action. So it already pushed into this 118, 127 zone on the four. So this is an 80-20 on the four. That chart this isn't updated. Okay. All right, all right, all right. So that is an 80-20 on the four and an 80-20 on the daily. So it looks similar to this here. Okay. Cool beans. I just caught that. Um, so we'll watch that, right? We'll track this off the daily. We'll stay on the higher time frame here and look to see if we get that move to the downside. Okay. Questions on ARKK? All right. So a lot of these are potentially setting up for retracements, kind of in line with what Benny was talking about, in a reset in the market with the concerns and inflation, um, where the Fed is when it comes to rate cuts. So we could be preparing for, like you said, that move to the downside, whereas last year we're looking for that move to the upside. So um, let's watch those. Okay. Um, Next one on my list. Ba, 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 ba. Actually, that was it. That was it. Benny, do you have any others top of mind that you want to take a look at?
No, sir, you covered a lot.
Well, I want to look at take a quick look at Adobe. It's another one that we've been tracking as it's moving to the downside here. Continuing to press south, right? That crown pattern played out. Boom. Now we're pressing down. Fibs coming down off the highest on the daily time frame, right? Let's see what happens when we get into this 118, 127 zone, right? So we've broken all of these support levels here. Okay. I believe, yep, all those got taken out as well. So headed down, right? So we'll watch this one as it moves into this 118 and 127 zone to see if we're able to get price to settle in here before getting to that D extension to give us a retracement, right? So all those got taken out. Track the top of that level there. We'll clear these out. Okay, so that's on the daily time frame. Beautiful crown pattern. Boom. Let's see if we settle in here. 399 and 410. So if we settle in between there and at least get a retracement before price continues to the downside here. Right. Still think this is going to be a good buy over the long term, right? But waiting on these deeper retracements to play out. Right. Waiting on these deeper retracements to play out. From a fundamental perspective, I still think over the long term it's a good buy. Nope, I think that's it. I think that's our capital fib coming down. Yeah. That's our capital fib coming to the downside there. So we'll track that and see. We might even be in for a lower price on this. Let's see, right? This will be interesting to watch. Do we get to 227? Hmm. Let's see if this ABCD wave plays out on this. All right. Retracement and then continuation down. I'm intrigued to see how this one evolves now. All right. Do we get this type of action this year? This is on the weekly time frame, by the way. All right. Weekly D extension there. So we'll watch and see how it evolves. daily headed down also. If we come back to 4, that fib got taken out. Boom. 80-20 on the 4. This one might get to the D extension on the 4-hour time frame before giving that retracement. So we'll watch and see around that 400 level what happens. We'll do some more research here. This is going to be interesting to see what could cause that move down to the 200s if it does. But let's watch this 80-20 here. Could be a short-term move to the upside before potential longer rundown. That's Adobe on the 4. Questions here? Nope. Okay. Questions on anything that we covered this morning? It was more stock and ETF heavy this morning, but wanted to get a good overview on where things are. And, as Benny continues the conversation around what the year could look like, right, with the Fed rate cuts, could start to see some of these retracements happen. So giving us a good overview of the market from that perspective. All right. Any final thoughts, Benny, before we wrap it up, bro? No losing?
My bad, man.
Oh, good.
You there? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. No, man. Great session. You covered a lot, man. You covered a lot. A lot of key things to watch, especially like I said, going through this first week of the year. So I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No doubt. QQQ, no, 100. Okay. We'll take a look at those. All right, good people. You guys have a phenomenal Wednesday. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Until then, we'll see you in the community. Peace.